Hello, this is Rebecca Jackson. This video is bringing you warm weather, exotic moving cars, and some talking about what was going on with them. So this is a Ferrari press trip for the Telegraph. So Ferrari put it on and I went on the trip and covered it for the Telegraph. And I just wanted to go a little bit back in time, a couple of years, and just share what a Ferrari press trip is like, and just to share it with you. Not so much the cars necessarily, but what a press trip's like. So, you know, what's it like with Ferrari? I mean, you hear people say Ferrari is Ferrari, and the brochures read like high-end coffee table books, and the pictures are enough to make you drool over them and almost feel like you're right next to one in real life. So a press trip to impress journalists has got to be pretty awesome, right? Well, to be fair, most press trips, most car launches, most automotive press trips are fairly awesome. They're pretty high up there on the scale of how exciting and impressive they are, even for something like a Ford Fiesta. Sorry, Ford. So does that mean that Ferrari went another level? Well, maybe. You'll find out in this video. I think the important thing to note here, though, is that typically motoring journalists don't receive a particularly high yearly salary, you could say. Some have done very, very well, and some write for a number of publications and have done exceptionally well and presented TV shows and stuff like that. But your entry-level salary, and quite a few of the motoring journalists are getting paid not a particularly high amount. And so it's really the perks of the job that make it what it is. And one of the perks of the job is clearly going on awesome press trips and staying in lovely hotels and driving fantastic cars. So what was the Ferrari one like? Well, it looked like this. It was first thing on a Friday morning and we all arrived at Ferrari in Slough. So Slough is not really the most exotic and salubrious place in England. So you might be quite surprised to hear that Ferrari is there. And I don't live too far away actually, so I can't really speak, but I don't live in Slough. Sorry if you do live in Slough. I'm sure there's some very, very nice parts of Slough. I can tell you one part of Slough that I really, really like, and that is where the Ferrari head office is. So we all turned up Friday morning at the head office for press in England, and you can imagine, with all the cars outside, it's a very, very, very impressive, lovely place to be. And it's not just the cars though. Something that makes Ferrari quite special is the people behind it. It's very, very welcoming. And Jason is the head of PR for Ferrari, and I've known him for years now. And that warmth that he brings to the brand makes it more than the cars. I mean, you could argue that the cars are enough. I mean, they are absolutely gorgeous. But when you've got fantastic people working in that brand, and that's something that I've learned along the years with Project Le Mans and the work that I've done and the big companies that I've worked with, is behind these big brands, there are people. You're dealing with real people. So the people are just as important, if not more important, than the actual brand itself. So that's it. Another reason why I like Jason is because he gave my twins a teddy bear. That's a very, very thoughtful thing to do. So what was it like then? We all arrived and we were paired up with our cars, and I had a GTC 4 Lusso as my car for the first leg of the journey. And interestingly enough, only 2,291 of these cars were made over a 5-year period. So it wasn't Ferrari's most popular car, but it was still rather lovely all the same. I suppose you could say it's a bit like a very, very, very posh, not quite so practical family car with an awesome engine and sounds amazing. So that was the GTC4 Lusso, and we were also going to be testing out the 488 Spider, which I was particularly looking forward to driving. So after our pairing, my videographer and I jumped into this GTC4 Lusso with a little bit of our luggage, and we set off on our convoy down to the Channel Tunnel. And it was very important here. We were given explicit instructions in our press welcoming letter that we must go onto the high roof carriages. And the reason for that is because if we didn't, we would be curbing every single wheel on the vehicle. And when you think that each wheel is probably the price of some people's complete cars, probably actually more expensive than my current twinmobile that I have. I have a Kia Sedona to ferry the twins around. It's their car. Don't judge me for buying an older car. I really do love that car. It has sliding doors, it's very reliable, it's very big, and it has 3 rows of seating, which means that it's extremely practical when you take out that 3rd row, and 3 proper seats in the 2nd row. So, so it was bought for a very good reason, and I was dipping my toe in the waters of owning a people carrier, and I'm very impressed with it. But anyway, this video is about Ferrari. So each one of those wheels is probably worth more than the Kia Sedona and a lot of other cars as well. So yes, those are the explicit instructions. And so we made our way onto these high roof carriages, and you can imagine all these Ferraris in a row, and just people's looks and how interested they were. And I mean, when people see a press trip, they don't know if the cars belong to you or if it's a press car or you're borrowing or you own it or what. They just see all these Ferraris in a row, and you know, it does generate a little bit of a buzz. It's quite thrilling, quite exciting to see so many all together all at once. So yeah, we all loaded ourselves onto the high roof carriage and made our way through the Channel Tunnel, and then we convoyed through France, made our way to Belgium, and we had our sat-navs programmed with our destination, and we arrived at a very, 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 wow, I've said lovely, I've said pleasant, exquisite. We're going to say it's an exquisite hotel. And the great news for us was that we were there for 3 nights. So most press trips last for a day and a night. But this press trip was slightly different. This was a whole weekend. And not only was it a whole weekend of driving Ferraris and staying in a very lovely hotel, it was also a trip to Spa-Francorchamps, or just Spa as we call it. And that was to see the World Endurance Championship and be a guest of the Ferrari race team there. And my, you know, one of my favourite cars, obviously, is the 911 Cup car, and Super Cup were there supporting WEC. So yeah, it was a pretty dreamy weekend, and yeah, it was all part of my job. I was covering this for the Telegraph. So that was super exciting. It's quite funny actually, because after Project Le Mans and having a little bit of time to soak it all in, I'd raced at Le Mans and do the next part of my racing. I raced Modern Herbie, and I raced a Mini and Mini Challenge. My next big project was going to be Project Monaco, and the plan was to jump in a 911 Cup car and race at the Super Cup support race for the F1 at Monaco. And that was my big following project. And then I was absolutely thrilled and blessed to fall pregnant with the twins, and that is a joy and a blessing greater than any race car you could ever imagine. So I was extremely grateful to become a mummy, and needless to say, Project Monaco was then put to a pause or a hold or a stop. Probably a stop, if I'm honest. I mean, my children are 2 now, and I can't see myself racing at Monaco now. I'm definitely jumping in a car again. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing, but Project Monaco would have been one of those projects like Project Le Mans that would require a lot of time, emotion, financial, business input and dedication, and that would compromise the sort of mother that I want to be. So that's that. But anyway, when I was at Spa with Ferrari, seeing those cars racing at the World Endurance Championship was obviously something that meant quite a lot to me, and it was very, very, very enjoyable. Another thing with these press trips, when you're away for a night, but in particular when you're away for 3 nights, it really helps if you've got some great people on the trip, because there's fantastic banter and really non-judgmental car geek talk, which is obviously great if you really enjoy talking about cars and you're not boring people, because everybody is enjoying themselves and everybody is doing that. So we had Car Throttle, David Green, Kevin Haggerty, and we also had the guys from Car Magazine. So it was, you know, plenty of car banter and eating meals together and convoying to the track. And I mean, I don't know what that would look like now in the middle of a pandemic. Zoom banter, I mean, I know you can do it. A friend of mine, I'm sure there's quite a few people that have done this, where they set up a pub. It's a virtual pub, and you just open a Zoom call at the start of the evening, and you're open all evening, and you have as many drinks as are sensibly a wise idea to have, and you can have pub quizzes and just general chit chats. You can put sport on, so it's quite a good idea. So that's as best as the social element I think is going to get right now, but at least you don't need an expensive taxi home. So that was the Saturday. We were at World Endurance Championship and watching the racing, having a fantastic time. We had our own little enclosure as well, actually at the circuit, inside the grounds of the circuit, for us to have all of our Ferraris on display. And then Sunday was free time, so we got up really early and shot some really great videos and grabbed some great footage and took some amazing photos of the sunrise, and then had a delicious breakfast at this rather exquisite hotel. And then after that, we just drove around we went to the outside of Spa circuit, one of the old entrances, and we did some driving shots, and that's where I got all of the shots done for the Telegraph. And then we just drove to various little villages and towns and the country roads, and we explored everything, you know, the sound of the Ferrari. I was in the 488 Spider by this point, and we did a little swap over, and just to see the scenery and the people's reactions, parking the car somewhere random, and you know, it was a really, really relaxed pace. With most car launches, you have a dedicated route, and like I said, it's a day and a night, and you have probably about an hour or 2 hours worth of driving, and then you'd have another hour or 2 hours worth of driving. So this being so free and relaxed, we could just go anywhere we wanted pretty much, and just take lots of photos. I mean, why wouldn't you? You've got a 488 Spider for the day, or for a couple of days, and because we had the GTC for Lucer at first, and so why wouldn't you take loads and loads and loads of photos? It's just such a photogenic car, and it sounds awesome. It did become my favourite car, I think, actually. It's definitely a car that I could drive frequently, and it's probably one of the closest sounding racing cars, you could say, a racing sounding road car for the road, because it just sounds incredible and so raw and I'm so ready to go, and it really was. And actually, when you drove it around fairly mundanely as well, it still felt thrilling and exciting because of the noise and the smell of the interior and the look of the interior and just the way it felt. And yeah, I liked that car quite a lot. And so on our way back, which was Monday, so that was our last sort of full day at the hotel near Spa. So on the Monday morning, we all got up, had breakfast, and drove in Convoy back to the tunnel. And that is when I was wearing my skimpy top with my sunglasses on and just feeling like I am a Ferrari owner. I've made it. And I felt like it really suited me. And I think that's the beauty of going on these press trips, that even if you don't own the car and you haven't got to that level yet where you are going out and buying yourself a brand new 488 Spider, if you can live well, which is putting yourself into the mind of, this is my car, I mean, it's your car for the day, you're still experiencing it, then I think it makes it even more powerful, even more amazing. So yeah, that was one of my favourite trips. There was plenty of driving, there was motorsport, great food, great company, opportunities in abundance to take amazing photographs and videos, and the weather as well was very good. I do like sunshine and warmth, so all in all it was a pretty remarkable trip. And then to write about it for the Telegraph was the icing on the cake. So that is my story of what a Ferrari press trip looks like. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this video and also enjoyed getting to see really, really sexy cars driving and moving despite us being in lockdown at a standstill. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much.